Hey, what up, everybody? Stevie Breach coming to you, home from work. First thing I want to check out for Monday Night Raw is the most over thing for me. It's the one thing that really has me really interested to keep watching this show right now. Is the returning legends, and this Legends show tonight on Raw. We didn't only get one legend, but we got two. Returning was Doink and DDP. I don't know if they brought back the first Doink or if they just used somebody like the Brooklyn Brawler backstage to fill a slot. They've done that a few times in the past, but if they did bring back the first Doink, that's cool. But just like if you go to any wrestling independent show this weekend, there'll probably be a Doink wrestling there. There'll probably be 10 or 15 Doinks wrestling across the country this Saturday. I don't think it really matters who's under there. Whoever did a good job when the Doink character first came out and turned heel and had the big thing with Crush, that was huge. But like I said, I don't think it really matters who played Doink tonight and did the job to Heath Slater. From there, DDP, man, there's not enough I can say about DDP. And the one real thing that always comes to my mind whenever I think about DDP was that I just wish he would have started wrestling sooner. He came from the bar business. I believe he owned a bar, and he got into wrestling only because he wanted to be a manager. He never really thought about wrestling until he got his gang of guys into WCW. He had really ran his course, and they really didn't have anything else for him. So he went to the power plant to become trained to be a wrestler because he felt that it was in his blood to do it. He didn't do it till he was in his late 30s, close to being 40, and now the dude's 53. I think is what he said he was. I can't believe it. The way he's turned his life around with the whole DDP yoga and how yoga for regular guys has really taken off. There's a guy on the wrestling, on a guy on a podcast I listen to every day called The Regular Guys, and he's a big wrestling fan. Vinny Bucci, he does it. There's many other wrestlers that do it. So it's not only for wrestlers, but it is for regular guys that people go out there and join it. But my favorite Diamond Dallas Page moment of all time is when he had always been a WCW guy. He's about the only guy I can ever think of that never really joined up with the NWO. He was a tag team champion when he was fighting the Natural Born Thrillers. And that was with Kevin Nash. They were called the Insiders instead of being the Outsiders because it wasn't with Scott Hall. But they were a short-lived thing because they didn't have anything else for him. But if you go back to his career, like I said, he never really joined the NWO. But there was this one time they really wanted him to join when they were first gaining up the ranks, seeing what side everybody was on. And DDP looked like he was going to join. He had hinted at it for a couple of weeks, and then he finally held up the shirt like he was going to do it. Only to once Nash and Hall thought he was in there, he gave a diamond cutter to both of them. Man, that was an awesome moment and a pop like nobody else has ever had. Everybody always looks at his WWE run as not being that great, coming in and being the stalker. But he's told the story so many times that, at his age, he knew he only had one chance. So he took that WCW buyout. He was one of the only guys who didn't let his contract end up. He took pennies on the dollar to get out of there to sign with Vince because he knew that that's where he wanted to be. I mean, he wanted to be in wrestling so bad. He drove Hunky Tonk Man's car down at WrestleMania. And he thought that was the biggest moment he was ever going to have. And he got to the point where he got to have an actual WrestleMania match against Christian. It was the second match, I believe, on WrestleMania. And that was a damn good match, and the crowd's really, really into it for the storyline that really wasn't there. He was the charismatic guy with the big smile that was trying to help Christian get over his losing ways. The match isn't great, but the crowd reaction to it is really, really good. Diamond Dallas Page is always going to be one of my favorite guys. I had the honor of meeting him at Wrestle Reunion in Miami. I had him sign his book. It's a bummer that he hasn't had a second book come out because that book ends before WCW ends. I think there's a lot of stories that would come out after that. He's done a few shoot interviews, RF Video, one with Wrestle Reunion themselves. Both of them are pretty good. Check those out in his story. But DDP, you're the man.